It doesn't matter how old I get, I always make sure, if I can, to serve my mom breakfast in bed on Mother's Day. It's something I started as a young child when my dad would get my sister and I up and make sure we made breakfast for her, and I think it's so important to continue that tradition. For all she does for me, I love to do a little something special for her on Mother's Day. But this breakfast treat can really be served in bed, or it is delicious as a brunch item. You don't have to serve it in bed to have an amazing brunch for your mom. This is a take on a classic French bistro sandwich, the Croque Monsieur. You may know that a Croque Monsieur is delicious bread with Black Forest ham, some Gruyère cheese, and a delicious white sauce. But this one is slightly different in that it adds an egg, and I even make it more special and serve it open-faced with a little bit of a sweet fig spread on the bottom. It's extra special, it's delicious, and I know your mom or anyone in your life is gonna love this. To start, you want to just make a quick white sauce or bechamel. Really, this is really simple, and it starts with a basic roux, which is just butter and flour. Melt your butter in your pan, and you just want to wait till it kind of sizzles slightly and starts to bubble, and then add in your flour. Stir that around until it gets slightly clumpy and turns a little bit golden. I just like to think that I'm cooking off a little bit of that raw flour flavor. Once it's kind of clumped up and kind of thickened substantially, you want to slowly add in your half and half. You can do this slowly. If you do it too much, you'll really just get the clumps of flour and it'll really be hard to incorporate them. So if you do a little bit of half and half to the mixture at a time and slowly whisk it in to make it smooth, it will make the whole process a lot easier. Continue to slowly whisk in more half and half until it's all incorporated and you have a smooth sauce. You want to let this now heat up a little bit again, and it will activate the flour and thicken it. Once it's heated and slowly is starting to thicken, you want to add in some of your wonderful flavorings. Any wonderful white sauce really is heightened when you add a little bit of nutmeg. I know it sounds odd, but just a little bit of fresh nutmeg is really important. And yes, fresh does make a difference. If you would taste the fresh compared to the just bought and ground, it is completely different. And for the little amounts you use, it's definitely worth it. After the nutmeg, you can add in a little bit of shredded Gruyere cheese. The flavor of Gruyere is really extra delicious and nutty, and with the nutmeg just melds perfectly. Finish with a little bit of Dijon mustard and some white pepper. If you don't mind the specks of black pepper in your white sauce, you can of course use black. Whisk it all to incorporate, and then just set it off the heat until we're ready for it. I love to use a hearty French bread or a good country loaf for this, just a bread that has a lot of structure. You could also use a good seeded loaf, but anything you like will work great. I just like to stick mine under the broiler for a few seconds to get it a little bit crispy on top. That way it doesn't just get soggy with everything you're going to put on top of it. After just a few seconds under the broiler and it just starts to crispen around the edges, take it out and prepare your egg. Just put a little bit of butter and let it melt in a hot skillet. And then always crack your egg into a bowl, because I think it's just easier to make sure it goes into the skillet and you don't get any little shell in it. Slide it right into your skillet and then let it cook for a little bit. Once it starts to sizzle around the edges, I like to add about a tablespoon of water and then cover the skillet with a lid. The steam gets trapped inside and cooks the top of the egg really well. Cook your egg however you like your egg cooked. My mom likes her egg over easy, which is just a little bit of a runny yolk, so I make sure to try to do that, but do whatever you or your mom likes. To assemble the Croque Madame, have your prepared bread and spread it with just a little bit of fig spread. I'm using a homemade one I make, but Dalmatia makes an absolutely delicious fig spread that can be found in a lot of the cheese counters at your grocery store. This just adds a hint of sweetness to this dish and really makes it delicious. After the thin coat of fig spread, you can place a few pieces of Black Forest ham. Black Forest ham is the traditional item used in this Croque Madame. You can of course use another type of ham, but if you want to keep it with tradition, use Black Forest. Place your egg on top, and then put on some of the delicious white sauce you've made. I know this makes extra white sauce. It's really hard to make it just for one, but it's so delicious you can make yourself a few of these. To finish this off, just shred a little bit of fresh Gruyère cheese right on top and place this under the broiler for 30 seconds to a minute. Anything you place under the broiler, you want to watch really carefully because it can go from perfect to burned in a few seconds. Once it's slightly bubbling and just a little bit brown, take it out and let it cool off slightly. I'm going to serve this with a quick and delicious fresh fruit salad. A few strawberries, a little bit of pineapple, a little bit of fresh lime zest, and a squeeze of a little bit of lime juice. And if you want to make it extra special, just a drizzle of limoncello liqueur. This is really delicious, and it just adds a little bit of extra flavor that I know you will love. I love to put mine on a tray and serve it to my mom and make it just look extra beautiful. She does so much for me, and this little act of kindness I can do is really just a small token. I put it on a tray with a napkin and some beautiful silverware and the salad and, of course, a few fresh flowers from the yard. If your mom is close to you on Mother's Day, I hope you can make a special treat for her. I hope the video inspires you to make something for your mom too. If you agree and like this video, make sure to click like below. And if you want more great videos, click subscribe. We would love to have you become part of the Gray Boxwood family. Happy Mother's Day!